You can obviously mix it into your spark. Oh gosh, jeez, that could be super. These are like spiky. Yeah, we need 2 kilograms of rose hips, and that's going to give us. What? Oh, it's stuck. That's going to give us what? It's going to. Oh my gosh, it's. Jeez, this is 2 liters. I'm planning on not getting caught into these thorns anymore, and to make this rose hip syrup. That tastes like syrup, like, you know what I mean? Like it's thickish, and it's delicious. This is it. This is my rose hip syrup. So very close to where we picked those crab apples, which, by the way, we are going to be making into some crab apple jelly. I'm now onto rose hips. So rose hips and these are ready now. So it was always supposed to be sort of mid-October, and we have felt them and they're ready to be picked. So I am eventually going to, and if you're wondering about rose hips, I'm going to make these into rose hip syrup. And rose hip syrup is, it's one of those things that people can kind of, can call nature's medicine. Okay. Everything. Okay. It's just one of those days, right? They call it nature's medicine, but it can be used as a cordial as well. So you can obviously mix it into your spark. Oh gosh, jeez, I could be super. These are like spiky. I gotta be super careful here. Jeez. Okay, what was I saying? I didn't know that these. This is, by the way, the first time I've done this. The first time I've picked rose hips, and I didn't know that there were thorny things on. I didn't know that there were thorny things growing through here. Is that okay? Anyway, it's dangerous. This is dangerous now, picking rose hips. What I was trying to say was that I've got to get all the way to the top, and I'm going to be. You can use the rose hips, obviously, we're going to make a rose hip syrup for a cordial, but then I was also told, obviously, I'm going to be super careful of that one. We know in this country, and I'm including this country to be obviously England, Wales, Ireland, and Northern Ireland, and what's it? Scotland. Whiskey. Yeah, they're known for their whiskey. So somebody else told me that the rose hip syrup can go into whiskey as well. So maybe we'll try that out. But point is that I'm planning on not getting caught into these thorns anymore, and to make this rose hip syrup. I've researched it, and it's like, what was it, Stephen? We researched it. How much is it? It doesn't make very much.
2 kilos.
Yeah, we need 2 kilograms of rose hips, and that's going to give us. What? Oh, it's stuck. That's going to give us what? It's going to. Oh my gosh! It's. Jeez, this is.
What was it? 2 liters.
2 liters.
Yeah, 2 liters.
And we've ordered these bottles that are going to be, each of them are 200 milliliters. So that, anyway, so there's a lot of maths involved here that I can't keep up, but we're going to get 20, did we say 10? We're going to get 10 bottles. We're going to get 10 good sized bottles at least. Okay. So look up above here, everybody. This is where I'm going to get my ladder out, because I'm going to have to pick all of these now. Well, especially the ones on top. I'm going to keep some of the ones down low, and I'll tell you why. Because these rose hips will be used later in making our wreaths here at Mapperton. So we do make our own wreaths. Like this is a danger right here. This is dangerous. This is deadly and dangerous. This has already pricked me like 3 times already. Like it nearly stabbed my eyeball out. So I'm going to be super careful. Getting up here. Okay, really careful. Really, really careful. I'm going to try to get the ones at the top, because I want to leave the ones at the bottom, because that will be easier for everybody to pick. So everybody can pick them who wants to make a wreath here. So, of course, I'm going to be doing an episode on wreath making and swag, making swags. And that will be obviously coming quite soon. I'm just gonna avoid that one altogether. I'm avoiding it. We're gonna go over here. It's like it has it out for me. Look at that. It's like a dagger. So what I'm gonna do is, you guys, I'm gonna leave the lower rose hips because that I'm gonna use them. This looks all right. Okay, I'm gonna get way to the top though. I'm gonna use them for the wreaths. So let's just get, I need 2 kilograms, everybody. 2 kilograms to make this syrup. Okay, careful, steady she goes. It's my own risk. I've done my own risk assessment. Balance there. Now I'm gonna be super, no. Okay, obviously me and ladders are like me and doors. We don't really work very well together. Okay, so let's just, whoop. Okay, we're gonna try this out and see. I just gotta avoid that one. Okay, that's better. Is this in? Mm-hmm, it's in. So this is my plan, everybody. I mean, I figure if I fall, I'd be totally fine. So that's okay, even though it says danger on the top here. We're gonna go here. I'm gonna lean up against the wall. Steven's gonna catch me if I fall, but I won't, everybody. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so I should have good balance, right? From yoga. Steven's gonna, yep. We're just gonna pick. No one's gonna get up here but me, right? So we're going for it. 200 kilograms, everybody. We're gonna make this work. What do we think we got there, Steven? An ounce? 100 grams. Okay. Yeah, all right. So wish me luck, everybody. So as I promised you guys, we are gonna be making rose hip syrup. Now, first and foremost, when I first moved to this country, I didn't even know what rose hips were. And that is the truth. And these are rose hips. So if you're anything like me and you didn't know what they were, now you know. So they're rose hips and they grow in hedges, and here you saw me picking them. So they were growing up against the dovecot. We saved some, so I didn't pick all of them that were growing up the dovecot because you're gonna see these feature later on in an episode later on, because we'll be making swags. So when we make, and again, when I moved over here, I'm like, what are swags? Over Christmas, we make huge swags using all the foliage from the estate, and then we put them over the door frames throughout the house. And we'll put in some rose hips as well into the swags and into our Christmas wreaths as well. So these go a long way. I'm gonna be using all of these. You can see they were obviously next to the dovecot because there is some dove feathers there. So I will be using all these, but for the purposes of this right now, we're gonna follow the recipe and make some rose hip syrup. Now, syrup, what is syrup good for? Well, I had to research this, but it is really popular around here to make rose hip syrup. And it's very medicinal, so it's high, and you can probably already tell from the color, it's really high in antioxidants, and they say just have 2 teaspoons a day to keep the doctor away type of thing. I mean, I'm sure that's, one of those myths, but it is really high in antioxidants, so rose hips are very, very good to have. You can also, with the syrup, you can, add sparkling water to it, so it becomes almost like a cordial. You could, if you want to add some alcohol, you can be really British and add some whiskey into your rose hip syrup as well. So first and foremost, we've measured out 1 kilogram of our rose hips, and we've removed all of the dove feathers and anything else. And we're going to chop these up. Now the question, yeah, I think I can fit them all in. Hope it doesn't go as bad as the soup did. I mean, that did work out fine, but still. Okay, whoops. I think I need to do it from the other way. And I might have, oh God. Okay, there we go, that was it. It was already on. We just want to chop it up just a little bit. Okay, phew. That was really quick and fast. Let's just check this out. Yeah, that's good. You just want it roughly chopped. And that's pretty much what it is. Even if some are whole, I don't think it matters. Maybe I should just give it one more little whiz. Did I stop it? Yep. Okay. Lock it, pulse it. There we go. That's better. Oh, okay, much better. So a little roughly chopped. What we're gonna do is we then have to bring this to the boil, then let it simmer, and then we gotta strain it. So still lots of steps to do, and it smells kind of, I don't know, apple-y maybe a little bit, but maybe it's because I'm obsessed with apples these days because of Maperton apple juice, and then obviously I'm gonna make some crab apple jelly. But it does, there's something that smells apple-y to me here. All right, so from here, I'm gonna go to the aga. This is the hot one. So this is the hot one, and this is the not so hot one. So first I'm gonna put it on this one because I need it to go to the boil. So here's my saucepan. So again, I've got 1 kilogram of my rose hips. I'm just gonna get a wooden spoon. Okay. Ooh, looks good. Fantastic. Can you get all that, Stephen? Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So putting that to the side, then I've already measured out my water. So I have to add just a tiny bit more after this, but it's 1 liter and then 250 milliliters. So that's about it, because I know I did it a little bit higher, so that's about right. So 1.25 liters, okay? So we're gonna let that come to the boil, and then once this comes to the boil, we're gonna move it over to this one, and I'm actually gonna put this on here. We're actually gonna move it over to this one and let it simmer for 15 minutes. So it's just really a waiting game right now. All right, I'm just gonna check on it. So it's quite hot, yep. It smells good, it smells like rose hips. Good, good, good. Looking good. So I think we're now going to, I'm gonna give it a little stir. We are going to, there's my spoon. Okay, a little stir there, just because I just thought that's a lot of juice. So we've got to strain this twice. So we have to put it in the muslin bag there, and then we have to put it through for about 30 minutes, and then you have to then put it through again. So it's like we do this twice. So I just want to make sure this is looking good for me. I mean, I'm happy with this. Yeah. This is just batch 1. Remember, we've got all those other rose hips to do. Okay, so I'm gonna get this ready. Gosh, I really hope this works, because this is gonna be like Christmas presents for people. So, okay, and then I'm gonna pour it into here. Okay, I'm nervous, that's why I'm wearing an apron. Okay. Might have to get my wooden spoon to get the rest. Okay, not too bad of a mess. That wasn't too bad. Usually I'm a little bit messier than that. Just a little bit of spillage over here. I'll take it. It's my first time doing this, you guys, so you're coming along for the ride with me. So there are obviously seeds in rose hips, but they will not be in this mixture. So what has to happen, actually that is not bad. So what has to happen now is this. We have to keep this for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna time this 30 minutes. Then basically I'm gonna dump out this, put it to the side, rinse out the muslin bag again, and put it back in and strain it. That's what it says to do. You've got to do it twice. And I can kind of see that. And you don't want to, apparently, you don't want to squeeze it, because then it doesn't give you the purest form of the juice when you squeeze it. So that's what I've been told. So you never want to squeeze the muslin bag because you think, I've got to get more juice out. You're better off just dumping it to the side, rinsing out the bag, putting the bag back in, and then again putting the rose hip, simmered rose hips back in, and then let it, so you're doing it twice. That is just what I've been told. Never squeeze. I know it's tempting because you're like, I'll just squeeze it all out, but then it apparently doesn't taste as good, and it doesn't give you the pure form of juice. It gets mixed in with, I think, some less pure juice, whatever that means, but that is what I've been told. So we're gonna keep this here for 30 minutes. Fingers crossed. So we've let this sort of strain for a good 30 minutes, and then, but without, because you cannot, it's just over and over again, people have told me, do not squeeze it. So we're definitely not going to squeeze it, but what you want to do is you want to strain it again. So I can already tell that there's still a lot more juice in there, and so I'm just going to open this up and then let all that out. And then I'm going to mix it around a bit. I'm going to rinse this muslin bag out. So I'm going to rinse this bag out in a second as soon as I get all of it out. Ooh, wow, really smells rose hippie. Okay, it definitely doesn't smell like apple anymore. I think at first it did. Now I'm not so sure. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse this bag out, put it back in, and then put this back in. That's what the instructions say. Fingers crossed. Because this is everybody's Christmas presents. So, sort of like this has to work. Okay. Give it a good rinse. Get rid of that. Rinse it out. I will squeeze this a little bit to get rid of some of the water. There we go. Okay, rinse, rinse, rinse. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to put that back on in my little strainer here. And let's just see how, I'm just curious to see how much more will come out. I'm going to grab a wooden spoon, and I could probably actually just do this with my hands. Okay, here we go. So I don't know why I'm mixing it around. It doesn't say to. Still nice and warm. Put that. Hopefully we'll get some more drips. Okay, yep, dripping. I saw a couple more coming through. There we go. And yep. And then you just want to do, again, this one is, you don't have to, you just strain it again. We're only probably going to leave it here for about another 10 minutes because you can see there's not that much stuff coming out. So we have gotten a lot of it, but we'll just leave it for another 10 minutes. And then it's time to make the rose hip syrup. So here, we're nearly there, nearly there. We've done the second strain. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. So we will remove this. And in fact, I'm just going to set this over here on top of that because that doesn't have anything in it. I've got my sugar here. So I've measured out 325 grams of sugar. You need 325 grams of sugar for every 500 milliliters of rose hip juice. So let's just hope I've got 500 milliliters here. That would be really, I mean, obviously I can use less sugar. Yep. So I've got a little bit more than that. So I am going to put it in, which means I'm just going to add then a little bit more sugar. So I'm getting up to about 700, I think, 750. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 100 more grams of sugar after I add this batch. So let me just double check that. I can do that in my head. Oh no, I'm at about 800. So basically, yeah, I'm going to add, so if it was 500 milliliters, I now have 800. Oh my gosh. Hold on, I'm just going to do the math. So that's 300 milliliters more. So that gives me, hold on. So that's more than half, 60% more. Okay, there we go, that's right. It gets 60% more, which means then of the 325 grams, I've got to multiply that by 60. So 1 second, it's roughly about, I'll get the calculator out, but about 200 grams more of sugar. Okay, so, right. So here we go. Now, what I'm going to do, the thing of it is, So obviously I'm gonna measure that up and give myself 200 more grams of sugar in a second. But I've got to first bring this to the boil. So I'm gonna bring the rose hip, look at that, it looks fantastic, right? So I'm gonna bring the rose hip to the boil, and I've just measured out 200 more grams of sugar. So I'm just gonna put that in there, okay? I know it looks like a lot of sugar, but you need it for the rosehip syrup. That's the recipe. So I'm gonna bring this to the boil. And in fact, what I can do is I can put the lid on and bring it to the boil, but just look at this, it's amazing. So once I bring it to the boil, then I'm gonna move it over on this side of the aga so that it is at a lower temperature, so it simmers. And while then it's sitting there simmering, right after you bring it to the boil, I'm gonna mix in the sugar. The sugar should immediately dissolve, and then you just let it simmer there for about 15 minutes. Once it's simmered there, then I can start to funnel it into these bottles, which I can't remember what I ordered. Oh, 40, there we go. Oh, 40 mil, hold on, is that right? I can't remember what I ordered. I thought I ordered, maybe it was 60 milliliters. Oh, they're 200, sorry everybody. I couldn't, no, never mind. I was reading, don't even ask what I was reading right now. It's 200, okay? It's 200. I didn't see that. I was reading, I was like, what's 40? And it was 40 millimeters. That must be the diameter here. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Okay, thanks, Stephen, for that. So these are 200 milliliter bottles. These are Christmas presents. I'm gonna get like brown, I'm just gonna hand tie like with sort of brown twine and then sort of brown piece of paper on it. So we'll leave this to be. I'm going to put the lid on just so it can get to the boil quite fast. So it is at the boil. This is the moment. This is where I get quite nervous. And I'm going to start to mix in the sugar. So mixing in, and you can see it literally is dissolving right away. So dissolving immediately, like it's just like gone every time I put my wooden spoon in. There we go. Ta-da. Right, so now, next step, it's completely dissolved. It smells like rosehip syrup. I mean, I have had rosehip syrup before, so, and I do know what it tastes like, but I'm gonna wait to taste it till after it simmers for 15 minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it onto this one here. So this one's just a lower heat one, and pop it here for about 15 minutes. And I know that there are bits in there. There's a part of me that I was going to strain them out, but I'm thinking that's okay. It's just part of the rose hip, and it just sort of makes it more homemade-y is what I think. I was literally thinking, should I strain those out? But then I'm like, no, because it makes it look homemade, which is exactly what it is. So we need to leave this, see how long this takes, but it's gonna be worth it. These are homemade Christmas presents that I'm giving to people. So now I'm gonna leave this for 15 minutes. We're gonna put our timer on. And after that, then it's down to putting them into these little bottles. And then of course, I got a whole lot more. I'm gonna be here all night. I'm pulling all-nighter making, no I'm not, but making rosehip syrup. But I do have definitely a couple more batches to do. This is the moment. This is why I have my spoon. Oh, I mean, it looks right, but a lot of things can look right and then they don't taste right, right? So I've got to taste it. So I'm going to put it in there, okay? It's definitely thickened up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So I've got my hand and I had to look it up because it's so good. Okay, that tastes like syrup, like, you know what I mean? Like it's thickish, and it's delicious. So what they say is 2 teaspoons a day is what you need for all the good antioxidants. So 2 teaspoons a day. I've just taken 1. I'm definitely going to take some more. we've done it. Done it. So we, again, let this simmer. It's definitely thickened up to what it should be. So now what I'm going to do is I won't be able to fill all these bottles, obviously, just a few, and then I'm going to get back on the next batch. But you can obviously see that that it's worked. So this is going to be my big Christmas present for everybody this year. One of them, along with, of course, some apple juice. And I'm going to bottle these up. It does say to bottle them right away. We'll leave that a little bit off to the side. It does say to bottle them up right away. And then if I wanted to stick labels on them or anything like that, I would have to let it cool. The bottle's cool, but I'm not going to do labels. I'm going to, again, like I said, put some twine around here. I might even put like a little rose hip at the end. So, because we still have some rose hips left and obviously a lot in that basket. Rose hip in the end, and then a little sort of brown card there. Okay, this is the first one. First bottle. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go right up to there. Boom. I think that's good. Maybe should I do a little bit more? Maybe. Like a tiny bit. Yeah. There. Okay, that's good. That's how I want it. Oh. Oh my goodness. This is it. This is my rose hip syrup. So I will create the tags and everything on that and put a little rose hip through. But when I give it for Christmas presents, I'll be sure to take a picture over the Christmas period to show you guys as well. I'll put that as an extra post. But here it is, everybody. We've done it. I have to tell you, I was quite nervous about this because I've never made this before. I mean, in America, I hadn't even heard of rose hip syrup before. I didn't even know what rose hips were until I came here. And now I'm obviously obsessed. I'm obsessed with making whatever I can here using what's on the estate. And then, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I could just fill these forever. Look at that. I think my husband's gonna be super excited. Homemade, there's nothing quite like homemade Christmas gifts, right? So again, this, I wish you guys could come and taste it. Hopefully when we open back up, the world opens back up and you guys can come and visit. You know, obviously one day I'd like to sell these at the shop. So to be able to sell these at the shop, and then hopefully you can pick up these as well. I'm going to continue to bottle. While I bottle, I'm going to say thank you again to all of you for joining me week in and week out here on my Patreon page, and those of you in the top tier. So Cheryl, Sherry, Angeline, Robert, and Taylor. Thank you all so much. But thank you to each and every single one of you, and hopefully you can come visit us here at Mapperton so soon and get some rose hip syrup.